to do this. Let's go ahead and get back into this testimony from Nick. They're talking about now Mindy when she was pregnant, what happened, how he found out, and now I guess we're going to get into her disappearance and him getting her ashes from some random person on the side of the road. This is embarrassing.
Had she ever previously been pregnant?
She had, roughly a year before, July of 2021. We had lost a baby.
Don't remember if you saw the pregnancy test. This is crazy.
Did the two of you, well, let's start with you. What people outside this immediate family unit of 4 folks were you in communication with?
At this point, Cameron Nelson, Angela Wynn. Sometimes we would talk to. We had some other friends that we didn't talk to as much. A couple of friends of mine from law school I would contact once in a while. Mindy's friends Angela and DJ, her friend Elizabeth. But I would say, most of our real communications, I'll say, talking to people were with those people.
Tell me about your relationship with Cameron Nelson.
Cameron is.
I can't believe this.
Cameron has always been both a friend and a mentor.
Shaking his head again, Amy.
Cameron, as an attorney, as an officer, as a human being, is somebody I've always wanted to emulate. I frankly think the world of her.
Jesus.
What about your relationship with Angela Wynn?
Angela and I were always friendly. I liked Angela a lot. We didn't know each other as well. By the time I met Mindy, Angela.
Her kids called you Uncle Nick.
So, I saw her on various visits, our wedding, and then I would talk to her sometimes online. But so we didn't get a chance to know each other quite as well. But I've always thought very highly of Angela.
Yeah, again, that can't.
Stop the cap.
That can't hit. Angela testified that her kids called him Uncle Nick. Come on, man.
How did you communicate with Cameron?
All right, whatever.
Through Signal.
Why Signal?
Because we were told that our communications, especially our communications with friends and family, should be through Signal.
Are you aware of any communication that Mindy had with people outside the home?
No, that's not something we would talk about generally. I mean, I knew that Mindy talked to people. I could hear her on the phone. Sometimes she would mention talking to somebody by name, but I mean, the scope of these conversations was not something that we ever discussed.
Did the two of you ever socialize with people from outside the home while you were living at 65th Street?
Never.
Why not?
Because we were scared to. I mean, frankly, the only people I thought knew precisely where we were at this time were Frank and Betsy, who literally lived with us, and Jim.
Okay. Let's begin to approach the time of Mindy's murder.
Yes, sir.
You purchased a shovel at Home Depot at the beginning of November, I believe November 4th. Why?
I was trying to do some work in the crawl space of the house just to prevent future issues with the mosquitoes that we had been plagued with when we moved in, and that I was trying to find a permanent solution to before we left.
Please tell the jury about the mosquito issue.
Yeah, when we moved in, there were mosquitoes in the house. At the time, we didn't think anything of it. It's Georgia in the summer. You're going to have mosquitoes. In August, Frank and Betsy had gone away for 2 or 3 weeks. They went up to Illinois or Wisconsin to see Matthew play baseball in a summer league he was in. And things got exponentially worse with the mosquitoes while they were gone. I had bought one of those little lamps that attract them and put it in the bathroom where we seemed to be having more. And I opened the bathroom one night and there were thousands of mosquitoes in the bathroom. It really does attract them, but they were coming up. At that time, we realized that the vanity in the bathroom had, when it was installed, they had cut a large hole in the wall that was open to the crawl space under the house and had not patched it up. So they were coming up literally under the vanity.
And did you attempt to correct that?
I did. I did multiple things
what I'm hearing.
in the house to correct it.
How did you attempt to correct it?
Temporarily, I tried to temporarily I did just duct tape it over. Then we went about trying to seal it in different ways with foam, with spackle, at one point with wood, but that didn't work out at all.
I wonder
we
why.
were also concerned at various points that the mosquitoes were getting into the HVAC system, because we would sometimes see them popping out of the little vents up in the ceiling. So I went, one morning I bought a step ladder, and I went around the entire house and I fit window screens with tape over the interior, all of those, so that if they were getting in somewhere, they would not be able to get out into any of the rooms in the house.
Tell me about the time around Thanksgiving. What was going on in your house then?
Mindy was not doing well. Her pregnancy was, what I believe to be her pregnancy was very difficult. She had a lot of health issues. I was helping her take her blood pressure every night. I was helping her get in and out of bed. I thought that she was really physically struggling, and I was trying to help her and trying to ensure that she was okay, that she and the baby were okay.
Okay. Did you travel out of town over Thanksgiving?
No.
Did anyone in the house travel out of town over Thanksgiving?
Betsy and Frank traveled out of town.
Do you know where they went?
I believe they went to Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Do you,
Wow.
do you recall when they left?
They left the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. The day before Thanksgiving, that would be.
And when did they return?
They returned the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So 3 days after Thanksgiving.
Do you recall the date?
I do. I could figure it out.
We'll come back to it.
Okay.
What were you doing and Mindy? What were you and Mindy doing while your in-laws were in Hilton Head?
Really nothing. I mean, I made some food for Thanksgiving. Mindy,
Wow.
had a very hard time standing upright for any length of time. So we might have watched some TV. Sometimes we would do that if we had the house to ourselves, because the TV was out in the room. Y'all have seen some pictures of it. It's got 2 chairs and the futon. That was generally the room that Frank the Third and Betsy sat in and watched TV. I worked in the other living room that didn't have a TV. It had the couch. So, but if they were at home, then we would sometimes sit in there and watch something if she was feeling up to it.
And during that Thanksgiving weekend, were you ever away from your home?
I was.
Where did you go?
I went to look at some apartments. We were trying to leave the area, and we were trying to find a place for Frank and Betsy to live when we left the area, because we wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. We didn't want to leave them in the lurch as
He was
we thought that
poisoning
they
her.
had been left in the lurch before.
Where did you
Is
go
that
to
where the
look for
NyQuil
homes?
comes in?
I believe I looked at a home in Savannah, and I believe I looked at a home in Hilton Head. But I during this time frame, I looked at multiple homes for them, both online and in person. So I'm not exactly sure if that's where I went.
Okay. Did you ever hear from Mindy while you were away from home Thanksgiving weekend?
Yes, I did.
What did you hear?
I got a message from her that she was leaving the home, that she was concerned, and she was going to get medical attention.
Did you rush home to assist her in getting medical attention?
I did not. I asked her if she thought I should come back, and she said that she didn't need, that she was going to be picked up and that she was all right.
Did she tell you where she was going to get medical attention?
We had discussed it in prior days, that she was going to be taken to a birthing center, that a doctor that, or the man I believe to be a doctor who had been seeing her in the home, worked at or was affiliated with in some way. Mr. McIntyre was comfortable with that, because we were very scared again about the medical issues, with insurance, with payments, with our location being found.
So you're still in communication with the person you call Jim McIntyre?
That's
Oh,
wild.
absolutely.
Amy said maybe he was keeping her drugs so he could
And not
manipulate
just
her
about
even
this.
more.
I mean, other than Mindy, he was the person I spoke to more than anyone else for years. He knew, personal things about me, stresses, issues with Mindy's family when there were the arguments there. I mean, we didn't just talk like, oh, people are trying to kill you. How do you feel about that? It was the kind of conversations you would have with a close friend.
Who found Mindy's doctors?
Mindy did, I believe.
Do you know the names of her doctors?
I do not.
Who found the birthing center?
I believe that came from Mindy's doctor.
Okay. What did you find when you returned home during Thanksgiving weekend?
Mindy was gone.
When was the next time you heard from Mindy?
I continued to receive signal messages from Mindy over the next several days.
And what were the contents? What was the contents of those messages?
I was told on I believe Sunday that I should be preparing to leave again. This was something that had come up multiple times where we were told to pack, and then a few days later we would unpack. It was a constant hassle and stress. But I was told to pack just the things that we would need just for a couple of days.
Lisa said, "What an involved
that
husband."
We might be leaving very quickly. Very quickly.
It's intricately involved.
And who had told you to prepare to leave?
I believe that came from Mindy, or I believed at the time that came from Mindy.
He knew Mindy inside and
Why
out.
would Mindy direct you to leave the home, if you know?
Because I thought we were leaving the home. Our plan had never been to stay in Savannah. That was a temporary spot, and I believed that we were going to be leaving in the near future. And I believed that based on what she was being told, that that was happening.
Where were you planning on moving to?
At the time, we were planning on moving to Missouri.
What did you plan on doing once you got to Missouri?
Have the baby and settle there and try to put our lives back together to an extent. We'd get to see family and friends that we hadn't seen, or we had we hadn't seen some of our friends in years.
When did you already said that. When did you next see Mindy?
I never saw Mindy again.
Why not?
I got messages Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday that I thought were from her. Everything seemed positive, and Thursday said...
Who had her phone?
I received a phone call and was told she'll be ready to pick up this afternoon. I'd sent her a few messages that hadn't heard back. I assumed she was either napping or undergoing some sort of test that she didn't have her phone with her.
Who has Mindy's phone?
That evening, Thursday, December 1st, I was told that she had died.
Who told you that she had died?
A man at a medical clinic of some sort that I went to.
Where was the medical clinic you went to?
Somewhere in Savannah or the greater Savannah area. I don't know Savannah very well. So
Jim had her
What was the
phone,
name
of course.
the man that
Of
told you
course.
that?
I do not recall.
Tell me about what happened when you got to the birthing center and spoke to this man.
I was brought back. He's kind of waiting for me. I was brought to an office, and I assumed I was getting, like I'd gotten before, with various medications or various tools of like the blood pressure cuff that I tested her with, that I was going to get some sort of instruction on aftercare. And he sat me down and said, I'm very sorry to tell you that Mindy passed away very suddenly today.
What was this man's name?
Asked to see her?
I did.
What was the result of that?
He said I could not at that time.
He closed his eyes. Y'all saw this? He was powering up. He said, "Time to activate tears. Here we go. Tear time. Okay, I'm ready." Not buying it, Jim.
Standing leaving. I don't recall his exact words. I was an absolute wreck. But my understanding was that there was going to be an autopsy, so I
Activate
assumed that she was
tears.
being prepped for that, or she had already been transported somewhere for that.
How did you
Tears.
feel when you were told you couldn't see your wife?
I was distraught, but I believed that I was going to see her I believed that I would get a chance to see her.
What did you do next?
He had me sign some forms that I believed were for the autopsy, some sort of a release, and then I drove home.
How were you told she died?
At that time, I was not. He said that she had died very suddenly, that she had been brought back from some testing and had gone to the bathroom, and that the nurse was called away before she was done in the bathroom, and that by the time they came back to rehook her up to her machines, she had passed away, and that was why no alarms had been raised at the time. I guess.
Okay, so you said you drove home.
Tier
from
activation
the,
failed.
Yes.
What happened when you got home?
I spoke to Frank and Betsy immediately. I mean, Betsy, I walked in and Betsy said, "Oh my God, is it the baby?" Like she could just see from my face that something was horribly wrong, and I started sobbing.
And you eventually told them?
Yes, I did.
What happened after that conversation? What did you do?
You said, "I solved it.
contacted
Jim did it. We can all go home."
Shortly thereafter, and told him what had happened.
Yeah.
And he said that he would find out what happened. He said he was so sorry for me. And then I think I got drunk.
What did you do next?
Sometime either the following day or the day after, we had started to reach out to friends. I believe I reached out to Cameron and to Angela first. I met with Jim. He said he wanted to give me the results right away. Could I meet him somewhere outside Savannah? And I assumed it was the closest point, and that I would get the news quicker on what had happened. I remember talking to Betsy on my way out because she said, do you think we should be? She worked at Hunter McLean at this time in downtown Savannah. She said, "Do you think we should be looking for a lawyer?" And I said, "Absolutely. Like, I am very unhappy with the care. Like, how do you leave a woman who's who had all these health issues alone for any length of time where she's not being monitored? Like, I absolutely at that point wanted her to start that process.
No, we don't know,
Did
Jim.
you find a lawyer?
No, we did not, because of my conversation with Mr. McIntyre that day or the next day. It was Friday or Saturday.
At some point, did you travel down to the Liberty County area?
I believe so.
Why?
This was on Tuesday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. I believe it was Tuesday, based on the other things. And I had been told to bring the two bins that we had to a house. I assumed it was somebody who worked at this birthing center or somebody Jim was familiar with. And this was something we had done before, where we were going from point A to point B, and some or all of our stuff went to point C. In between, so I brought them down. I met with a gentleman and delivered them to him.
What vehicle were you driving when you came
I was
down?
driving my Ford Explorer. It was a 2022 Forest Green.
Please endeavor to let me get the question out first.
I'm sorry.
You were driving your Ford Explorer, and you met with a man.
Yes.
What man did you meet with?
I don't know his name. I was just directed to go to him to deliver this.
To deliver what again?
To deliver 2 totes full of personal items, things we would need for a couple days, things that I've been asked to, toiletries, some clothes, shoes, some books, things of that nature.
And where did you deliver them to?
I'm not exactly sure. It was a house, I presume somewhere in the greater Liberty County area, but I'm not exactly sure.
How'd you know where to go to deliver these?
I was given an address of a church that I was told to use as a waypoint, and then I was given GPS coordinates from there.
We've heard testimony that at some point your phone was turned off. Why was that?
I was told to turn off my phone.
By Jim.
Because of concerns that it could be tracked.
Come
So
on,
how
man.
did you get to the location without use of your phone?
Mindy and I had a GPS, an older Garmin GPS that had always been kind of our backup. If if you lose cell coverage or something like that, if you're somewhere, then we kept that with us actually for a long time.
Where's that GPS now?
That GPS, I believe, burned up in my car.
Where's the shovel you purchased on November the 4th at Home Depot?
I believe that was either given. Well, I know it was either given to Frank III, or it was left at the house on East 65th Street.
We've seen receipts and photos of you buying a Milwaukee knife at Home Depot. Do you recall that?
I do.
Why were you buying that knife?
one of the screens that I had put in place, the one in the living room with the TV where Frank and Betsy spent most of their time. There was something weird about that. It looked like it had been damaged when it was initially installed, but it would hang out quite often, and I was having a very hard time keeping the netting on it and keeping it secured up there. So I was looking for something that kind of long and thin. I thought I could trim back the netting without causing further damage to this, and hopefully get it to sit up there. This was one of Mindy's big things. Was always like every place we live, you know, even though these are vacation rentals, we should leave it in a better condition than we found it.
That's
Are you
how
a
we were
hunter?
taught.
I am not.
Why would you buy a deer processing kit at Bass Pro Shops?
I
Great
received a message from who I believed was Mindy on Monday, the 28th of November, and said that she'd been thinking about Christmas gifts for her brother Matthew, who is a hunter at this point. That seemed to be everything he did on weekends, and directed me.
So
to go to
Mindy
Bass Pro
told
Shops
him
and to buy it. So I
from
did.
the grave to
Where's
buy
that
the
set of
processing
I
kit.
believe I left that at the property when I departed. I left some things there that were kind of upsetting to see, and some of Mindy's goods, some things that she had picked out, and I believe that Mr. McIntyre was coming to pick them up and store them with the rest of our belongings.
Where's the Milwaukee knife that you purchased?
The Milwaukee knife was either left in my car when it burned, or it was left in my storage unit in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
You have a storage
Nope.
unit in Lancaster, Pennsylvania?
I do.
What's in that unit?
Personal belongings, some excess clothing.
Did they investigate it?
Some furniture.
Do you eventually leave Savannah?
I do, shortly thereafter. I mean, our plan had been to leave Savannah in the vicinity of this time regardless. It had been for some time. But I left, I believe, the following Tuesday.
What happened to Betsy and Frank III? They were living with you. Where were they supposed to live?
I continued to work on finding them a place to live, and that following Tuesday, I moved them into a condo in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
How did you pay for that condo?
I paid for that condo with my debit card.
Weren't you afraid that that would give away your location?
We had not had issues with the banking information. We believed that we had had a leak of some sort with an online company that we were having something delivered to the house with, but Jim pointed out that we had had no issues with the billing addresses of my banking information, which was either in Atlanta or Florida with that mail service that we were using again. So he said since neither of those had been touched, he thought that was good news that there would not be any danger to them.
What about paying for your Savannah Airbnb with your personal card?
Yeah, likewise, he did not feel that there was he did not feel that there had been any issues with this bank. No money had mysteriously gone missing from it, and given that our billing addresses were in Atlanta and or Florida, and there had been no issues there. He said, this bank is secure and you are not having issues with it. You know, however you were being targeted years ago, you are not being targeted now.
So you left town,
Yes.
and you left Mindy's body behind?
I was told in roughly this time that Mindy's body had been cremated.
How did that make you feel?
Livid, absolutely livid.
Why?
Because I believed that I was going to get to see her before she was cremated.
You know, we saw some banking financial records.
He
of
was
yours
livid.
Make it look like you're ping-ponging back and forth around. Can you describe to the jury where your travels took you next?
Absolutely, yeah. And some of that I think is just that hotels will sometimes bill you a couple days after you check out. But I left Savannah and I drove down to Jacksonville, Florida. We had a
That's
mail processing center right outside Jacksonville in a little town called Green Cove Springs. So I spent the night in Jacksonville and then went to pick up some property there in the morning, some mail.
What did you pick up in Florida?
I mean, there were multiple things that we hadn't had shipped, but the thing that we couldn't have shipped was some beer that had been sent there.
Who sent you the beer?
I believe it was a friend. I was part of a beer, kind of a rare beer group on Facebook, and sometimes guys would send each other beer.
Where
That's
did you
nice.
go after Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Orange Park?
I started heading towards St. Louis, Missouri, where
He's
where
gonna
we
get
had
into
planned
that
to
in a
go
second.
At that point, and I
The
spent
remains.
a night in Alabama. That kind of seemed like a halfway point, and I had a appointment there the following morning, so
What was your appointment in Alabama?
to get Mindy's ashes.
Do you need any water? Are you okay? Do you need any water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doug asked him if
Why,
he needed water.
if you know, are Mindy's
Slow him down a
ashes
little
in
bit.
Alabama.
I had no idea where Mindy had been cremated. This was information I had gotten third hand from Mr. McIntyre. Then I received a phone
Wow.
call from a gentleman who said that I had to arrange to pick them up, and we were discussing where we would both be, and he said that he could meet me in Montgomery, Alabama.
This
What
is
did
where he
give
picked
you
up the
there?
He
remains.
gave me a bag that he said contained Mindy's ashes. It also contained her engagement ring and her wedding ring.
Bro,
What if any-
what? A bag? He gave her a sandwich baggie with the remains in it?
Thing did you give him?
I gave him $5,000 in cash that I withdrew that morning from the Renaissance Bank in Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh my
Did
God,
he give you any additional
no.
paperwork?
He did not.
Did he give you a death certificate?
He did not.
Did you ask for a death certificate?
I asked at one point. I asked Mr. McIntyre if I could get one, but given that we had no life insurance, It wasn't something that I needed for anything. It was just something that I wanted to have, and I failed to follow up on it.
You say you had no life insurance. You both had no life insurance?
We both had no life insurance. Yes.
Where'd you go after Alabama?
St. Louis, Missouri. I arrived there the next night.
What, if anything, did you do in St. Louis?
I did work for APIS, and I also filed to change my name.
Why did you file to change your name?
This was what we had been told would be kind of the culmination of our, everything we were going through. That if we changed our names too soon, that our name change would be figured out, and then we would have to go through the whole process again. But that kind of the last thing we would do would be changing our last name so that
It's painful.
we would not be found.
And you saw the paperwork where you changed your name.
I actually physically, I went to two courthouses because I went to the wrong courthouse first, but I physically filed the paperwork myself.
Are you the one that completed all of that paperwork?
I did complete that paperwork, yes.
And you said that you were the victim of domestic violence.
Yes, I did.
Why did you say you were the victim of domestic violence?
Because I believed that everything that had happened to us for years was at the hands of Wayne, my dad.
You mentioned an incident.
Where's
in
Wayne at? I want to talk to
Charlottesville
Wayne.
that you believed was Wayne attacking you, correct?
Yes.
Were there any other encounters between you and Wayne prior to you filling out that form?
Absolutely. He came to Savannah. He found us in Savannah when we were living on East 65th Street, and came one morning and knocked on the door.
He knocked on the door of your home.
Yes.
Was anyone with him?
Yes. Yeah. His brother Chet was with him.
Do you see them in the courtroom now?
Yeah. My dad is right there in the blue polo, and my Uncle Chet is 3 people down from him.
Look at his dad. Oh, his dad's hurting.
What did you do when you saw
Oh,
them at your doorway?
Dad.
I was
God, it's
terrified.
okay, Dad.
We had a near miss from a hurricane the night before, so
His
a lot of
dad's
people, Betsy and Frank
crying.
included, had left Savannah, but it ended up coming ashore north of Charleston. But I assumed it was the homeowners, the gentleman Matt and his wife who testified, that were coming to check on the house, just make sure there was no damage. So I opened the door. I hadn't had any coffee yet. I assumed that it was them, and I was very shocked when I opened the door.
What did you do when you saw them?
I think I said, why are you here? How did you find me? Or something like that. They said, that they had hired somebody to track me down. They asked if I would come somewhere with them private to talk. I said absolutely not. And then I shortly thereafter I slammed the door and locked it.
Was Mindy there when this happened?
Mindy was in the bedroom with the door closed at this time. Her sleep schedule was kind of a mess at this point. She would, sometimes be awake all night because she couldn't sleep. Then she would be asleep all day. But at this point, it was probably 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not kind of guessing, but she was in the bedroom.
Did she witness any of this?
She did not, no.
What did you do after you slammed the door?
I went into the bedroom and told Mindy, Wayne just knocked on the door. I opened the door, like he knows where we are, and we called Jim McIntyre.
And then what did you do?
He asked details about it, and then he told me that since Mindy had not been seen, that he felt like it was better for her to kind of hunker down in the house with Rusty, and that I should meet him. He directed me to a hospital that we'd previously identified as a safe place to meet. We had told Betsy and Frank that if they ever felt that they were being followed on the way home from work, that they should go to this hospital. I believe it's the Chandler, or I don't know. It was about 2 blocks away. There was always a security vehicle sitting in the lot. He said that there were cameras there, and so he told me to meet him there.
Let me go back to something real quick that we heard when Frank III testified. He was required to be out of the house from before lunch to 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was following this incident. So when we first got there, we did not have any rules on what we could do when. But following this, we had a number of changes and basically how we lived that were implemented.
Who implemented those new rules?
Mr. McIntyre. I believe he emailed them about them personally.
Here we go, Jim again.
They were sometimes in email contact, Frank and Betsy and him, but I would sometimes see these emails or hear reference to them. Sometimes they were, I thought, unnecessarily mean, but
What email service did you use?
At this time, I used Proton Mail.
Could you describe to the jury any unique features of Proton Mail, if there are any?
Yeah, there are a couple. First is that if both people have Proton Mail accounts, then messages sent from a Proton Mail account to another Proton Mail account are encrypted. So if Mindy and I were emailing notes back and forth to each other, or sending each other things, if we were dealing with other people who used Proton Mail, then those would be encrypted. Even Proton Mail can't read those messages. Only the people on either end of the conversation can. The other thing about it is that they are a company that doesn't sell your information. Most email providers, as the saying goes in kind of the privacy world, if something is free, that means that you're the service. That means that they are selling you in some way, either through advertising or much more commonly, they're selling your personal information to anyone who will buy it.
You seem to go really out of your way to remain private, to communicate privately with Signal and as well as Proton Mail. Why is that?
Because I thought we were being hunted, literally. I was scared to death for years and years.
After you changed your name in St. Louis, and that's where you changed your name to start, correct?
Yes, it is.
Where did you go next?
I went to Pennsylvania.
Why did you go to Pennsylvania?
I had struck up it started as a friendship and then had grown somewhat flirtatious with another writer, and I was going to see her.
You were having an internet affair with a woman that was not your wife, correct?
I wouldn't call it an internet affair. I mean, it was mildly flirtatious.
Nick,
but,
come
When
on,
did that
bruh.
begin?
Take some accountability.
we started.
Jesus, this guy.
She had thought that we had talked on and off years before, and we may have. I had a lot of social media accounts deleted and restarted over the years, but we started talking in earnest in either September or October of 2022.
Can you please tell the court her name?
Come on, dude.
Kolyesnik. Trying to pronounce that correctly.
And we saw text messages between you and Samantha, direct messages in Twitter.
Yes,
Between you and Samantha Kolyesnik, correct?
absolutely.
Do you recall telling Samantha Kolyesnik that your wife had died some years prior to her actual death?
He can't pronounce his wife.
Why did you tell her that?
His
This
wife's
goes back
maiden
to
name
the
is
fall of
crazy.
2020. We were in Beaufort, and Mindy got sick. And within a day or two, took a COVID test, and it was positive. This was pre-vaccine, and we called Mr. McIntyre. He had somebody come and pick her up and take her to the hospital, and I was told within a matter of days that she was not expected to live. It was Rusty and I in
And why
Beaufort.
weren't you there, man?
And I was told that I was not allowed to talk to any of our close friends or our family about what was going on, because nobody was allowed to see her. She was in a COVID ward. At that point, since none of us had vaccines, nobody was going to be allowed in, and that there, the chances of where I was being identified were extremely high. And I was, using social media to talk to people. I was a wreck. I was not doing well. And I started communicating with an old friend of Mindy's, or maybe an old acquaintance would be the better term, by the name of Joy, and it came to it became much more romantic in nature.
Of course it did.
To the extent that she came and visited me twice in Beaufort, and that we had talked that after Mindy passed away, we were going to move to be near her family in Minnesota.
But when you told Samantha Kolyesnik that Mindy had died, that was in October of 22, I believe?
Yes. Following this, Mindy recovered in late December 2020. It was very, very unexpected, and Jim was, frankly, he said he had not been reviewing my social media as closely as he had at the beginning, and was frankly extremely livid with me that I had been talking to people that I didn't know well, that I had been saying outside of Signal, I had been saying where I was, what was going on with Mindy. I was frankly trying to survive. So we had almost no social media access for a period of months. He said that we had both in the past said things to people on social media that we didn't know well, that we shouldn't have. And then following that, he said he had some new rules for us that we, he said that since I had told so many people that I was married, that I had to start saying that Mindy had passed away, that she had died of COVID. I told,
Stop the cap.
That was what I told all of my kind of online writing friends in the writing community. And he said that was to keep her safe. I don't recall what exactly she was supposed to say, if she was just supposed to say that she was unmarried or divorced, or if something had happened to me. We didn't talk a lot about our kind of individual chats with other people.
He said Jim said he had.
Mindy and I did not talk about that with ourselves.
Oh my goodness.
So that became a running thing that I was supposed to tell anyone that I befriended, that I talked to more than a handful of times, was that I was widowed.
Jim told him this.
My wife had passed away, and it started by saying she died of COVID, and then as she would get medical attention for various things, he would change that, because he said if medical records of where she had been ever leaked, it would look consistent.
So you went to Pennsylvania to see Samantha.
Yes, I did.
When did you get to Pennsylvania? Do you recall?
Did Jim tell you to do that too?
Mid-December, maybe the 16th.
What did you do when you got to Pennsylvania?
I had rented a place in a little town called Ephrata, kind of Lancaster. I think it's Lancaster County, and unpacked the things that I still had with me, and got Rusty situated, and then Samantha and I went out for dinner.
So this doesn't make sense. Why, if he was supposed to do that to protect Mindy, and at this point Mindy was dead? This is so confusing. But hadn't he already gotten her ashes in a baggie on the side of the road? So why would he need to protect Mindy if she was already gone? This timeline doesn't make sense. And I'm probably missing it because, I don't know. Short attention span, Nick is rambling, combination of the two. So why would
We saw a driver's license you procured in Delaware.
Yes.
Why did you procure a Delaware driver's license?
After the name change was finalized, which was January 4th, I had filed it in late December, and then on January 4th, I went back to court. I had a hearing before the judge. I explained my situation, and she granted the name change. I had started the process of changing other things. I went to the Social Security office when I was told to in Delaware, and I changed my Social Security number to reflect my new name. I changed my name to reflect my. No, I think I said it right the first time. I'm sorry. So I had to update it, just like women have to if they change their name after marriage or something like that. You go to Social Security. That's your first stop, and you say, "This is why my name changed, either the marriage certificate or the name change order." And so what was once Nicholas James Kassotis on the Social Security number is now Nicholas Killian James Stark.
And how long did it take Social Security to update that information?
It takes them apparently about 24 hours. So I didn't realize this at the time. I left the Social Security office and went to the DMV in Delaware. And when I got there that morning, I was told, no, this will take, it might be done today, but more likely it will be sometime. And this was on a Friday, I believe, so it'll be sometime after the weekend.
What name is on your Delaware driver's license?
Nicholas James Kassotis. I went back that afternoon to a different DMV and filled out. I had my name change order. I had a printout from Social Security. I had some documents that Mr. McIntyre had provided, and then I explained the situation, and the woman said, "Oh yeah, I think this will be fine." At this point, we went through the entire process. She had me pay. She gave me the card. It came off the printer, and I said, "This is the wrong name." And
hold on, guys. Sorry.
She said, "Oh yeah, this is it hasn't updated in the system yet, so I can't issue you one under your new name. You're gonna have to come back next week. But here's your Delaware driver's license." And I was a little unhappy I had paid for it, frankly.
Tell us about your time in Lancaster County.
I started going to Lancaster County, fairly regularly on weekends to see Samantha.
And did that relationship continue to grow?
It did, yes. It was romantic. It very quickly grew serious. Probably unhealthily fast. In both our situations, but yes.
And you eventually got married, correct?
Yes, we did.
When did you get married to Samantha?
April 21st of 2023.
We've seen pictures of your burned up Ford Explorer. What happened?
Sir. On March, believe it was March 20th of 2023, I was driving the Ford Explorer. I had left the rental we were staying at, driven north to run some errands, and also to, I believe, picked up a cashier's check for the purchase of a home. And shortly thereafter, I was making a turn onto another road, and the car was kind of fighting me a little. Like it was taking more force to turn than I thought it would. I continued down the road and was smelling something odd, which in Lancaster County is not necessarily indicative of anything but that you're driving by a farm. And I stopped. At that point, I realized that there was smoke in the interior of the car. I got out, and crossed around to the passenger side to get my phone out, but opened the door, and the fire kind of just came right up at me. It was the car went up extremely fast.
What injuries, if any, did you suffer?
I suffered some burns to my face. I lost a lot of hair, like an eyebrow, and a lot of hair off the side of my head. I also had a burn to my right eye. It didn't occur to me before this that your eyes could actually get burned, but they can.
What happened to the goods that were in your vehicle?
Everything was destroyed.
You mentioned picking up a cashier's check to purchase a home.
Yes.
Tell me about your home purchase.
Sam and I had been looking for places to live, and we had settled on a house in.
They were not playing
Lancaster,
around.
Pennsylvania.
When was the closing date?
Closing date was March 20th.
Did you put any deposit on the house?
I put a $50,000 EMD on the house.
Did you ever?
Is there a
where
receipt
was
of
the
that?
cashier's check from?
I believe it was from Citizens Bank, but I did not physically draw the cashier's check. I looked at it to verify that the name of the closing company was right, that the amount was right, and I believe it was a Citizens Bank cashier's check. Actually, I know it was a Citizens Bank because I called Citizens Bank thereafter to discuss with them.
You say you didn't draw the cashier's check. Who
Yes.
drew the cashier's check?
Somebody that Jim McIntyre worked with, who he had me meet and pick up that morning.
And what happened to the check?
The check burned along with my car, bits of me, and everything I had in the car at the time.
What did you do about the destroyed check?
I talked to Mr. McIntyre. I mean, within, I don't know the exact time. It was pretty shocking. But I was driven back to the rental by a police officer, and I called him while I was still in the police officer's car to say I need a new cashier's check, and he said, I think that might take a while. I think that's a problem. So while he was calling about the actual account, I was calling the general Citizens Bank customer service, and they confirmed to me that it was a long process to get a cashier's check reissued, because their concern is they have to honor a cashier's check, so they have to wait a certain amount of time after they have issued the kind of stop payment on it to make sure it has not been presented at some other bank.
Was the cashier's check the only way to make the final payment on that home?
Later on, we learned that it was not, that we could wire, and I received wire instructions later.
So you eventually wired and closed on the home.
No, we did not. By that point, we had gone back and forth with the owners of the house via our realtors. We had, it had been a very stressful couple of weeks. I mean, we had utilities on in the home. We had furniture being delivered that was sitting in the driveway that I was having to pick up and move into storage. It was a very stressful time, and I was dealing with physical injuries and didn't have a car at this point. So it was an absolute nightmare. And Samantha said to me that she felt like the entire process had been so poisoned that she no longer wanted to go through with the purchase of that home. So we informed the buyers that we were not going to close. I forfeited that $50,000 EMD, and we started our home search anew.
Did you ever eventually buy a home with Samantha?
We did not. We were looking. We were actually going. We had four home showings scheduled on the day of March 12th. When
What happened on March the 12th?
I was arrested shortly after leaving our residence or our rental.
Did you kill your wife, Mindy Kassotis?
I absolutely did not. I've never put my hands on a woman. I've never hurt a woman. I would never have hurt Mindy.
Did you strike her on the head up to 9 times?
Never. Never, not once.
Amy, you believe
you-
him?
Dispose of her body?
No. Never.
Did you dismember her body?
No. Absolutely not. Frankly, I'm not great with blood. So as anyone who's ever given me a doctor's exam can tell you, that is not something that is even remotely possible.
Nick, shut up, man. Jesus. Maybe
My
you could
last
say, I
question is
loved
just,
Mindy.
Is there anything else that you would like to say
Grief.
that I haven't asked you about?
Objection, Your Honor. That calls for a narrative.
Want to respond?
His life is at stake. I don't want to make a mistake and not give him the opportunity to say something.
Your Honor, I'm not trying to prevent him from saying anything, but counsel has to actually ask him a question and not allow a witness to simply just...
He's testified for a couple of hours. It does call for a narrative. It's an improper question.
Okay, I'll withdraw that question. I have no further questions for Mr. Kassotis.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we've gone for a couple of hours, more than a couple of hours, so we'll go ahead and take a break. So if you would, please step out with the bailiff, and we'll call you back in about 10 minutes.
10 minutes, which means we should have enough delay to jump right back into it. We will shortly. Oh, man. So much I want to say about this direct testimony, but I'm going to let the prosecution handle this. Guys, this was an absolute disaster. As someone who would be seated on the jury, this did not help his case at all. His story sounded even crazier. The timelines don't make sense or add up. Why he would be talking to another woman out of Mindy's protection doesn't make sense. Meeting somebody on the side of the road, paying them $5,000 to get a bag of ashes that you can't even verify makes no sense. What you're seeing on the screen here is Nicholas Kassotis and Jim McIntyre. There's no doubt in my mind. And they didn't even bring in a psychologist to talk about this entire situation, but I would love to hear a breakdown of that later. I know Amy's going to have a lot to say on this too, as well, being our resident psychologist and body language expert. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat.